Hi, Steve here. Are you aware of how fast the science and technology is coming in this earth now? It's all because we're in the last days. Do you realize that a lot of this technology could have come to pass years ago? Nikola Tesla was years ahead of some of the technology now. So why now is science and technology moving at an exponential rate we can't even fathom? Simple. We're moving towards the end. But the revelation came to me like a lightning bolt in my face when I realized why all the technology and science has to happen now. The voices of reason, the voices of right versus the voices of wrong, and any godly voices being silenced over and over again. In an article in the New York Times, it reports that surveillance and privacy had to be debated again in the Congress. The legislators are talking about renewing the warrantless spying on internet and phone networks on American citizens, all in the name of security. Of course, the House passed legislation renewing the controversial NSA surveillance program, and if you're one of those people that believes that as long as you're not doing anything wrong, you have nothing to fear from all of the surveillance they'll do in the name of security, let me tell you why that's a deception. The technology has been around for years, and they've been using it for years. You can't convince people of lies until you get rid of the truth. You can't deceive people unless there is no truth to listen to. And through science and technology, evil men will be able to pave the way for the soon-coming Antichrist. James O'Keefe of Project Veritas recently exposed Twitter and their stunning admission.
We can actually read your DMs.
So all your sex messages and your server now. No. Yeah. All your illegitimate wives and all the girls you're on my server now.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna send it to your wife and she's gonna use it in your divorce.
So if I send someone a direct message, y'all are gonna look at it to analyze it?
A machine's gonna look at it.
It is creepy Big Brother. Like
Creepy Big Brother.
I mean, it's like a level of like it. I don't want to say freaks me out, but it disturbs me. I've seen way more ever wanted to see in my life.
On what? DM messages?
DMs, tweets, yes. Lots. There's teams dedicated to us. I mean, we're talking at least three or 400 people. Yes, they're paid to look.
We're trying to get the shitty people not to show up.
We are in SCPS, Facebook, Google, but we know some stuff.
What we can do on our side is actually very terrifying.
These are admissions from top-level people at Twitter. Twitter admits to spying on you and using your data any way they want to. And the worst part is, you help them do it. They also admit to shadow banning. That means not allowing your tweets to be seen when you think they're being seen by thousands of people. Google admits to a fact-check feature that targets conservative sites, and a review of mainstream outlets as well as other outlets associated with liberal and conservative audiences shows that only conservative sites feature the highly misleading subjective analysis. Worse, Google gives users details on the sidebar, including what topics the site typically writes about, as well as the section titled Reviewed Claims. Left-wing outlets are not given the same fact-check treatment. And these so-called fact-checker sites are run by organizations with liberal bias, flat-out lies, and individual opinions of the militant liberals who love insulting conservatives. Most people who are low information, dumbed down, they don't know this. And the biggest problem is people trust Google. They shouldn't. The government, social media, the science and technology, they're all being manipulated to make it possible for the Antichrist to rule. Now I'm going to tell you the reason why it's all coming together. God is omnipresent. That simply means He knows, He hears, and sees everything. He's omnipotent. That means He's all-powerful. But Satan is not. And therefore, when he gives the Antichrist his power, the power that he gives him is totally limited. Without the technology and the mark of the beast, there's no way he can know what everyone is doing, what everyone is thinking, even though he'll convince most of the world that he's God. He's not. The Antichrist and Satan are forced to use technology to control and dominate and govern. We're witnessing a full-out effort to destroy truth, to destroy human dignity, and to twist and pervert everything good on this earth that God intended. It's all about control and keeping the population of the earth under total control. If you want to be part of the New World Order, you'll have to comply, you'll have to conform. You can't think for yourself anymore.
Are you awake? Are you really awake? How do you know you're awake?
My millennials, stay woke!
This is your last chance. After this, that's where the story ends. If you take the blue pill, you'll wake back up in your bed. Believe whatever it is you want to believe. Back to the world of fake news, social media echo chambers, Hollywood smoke and mirrors, self-aggrandizement, Botox and boob jobs. Or take the red pill and see really how far the rabbit hole really goes. Hollywood is a system, and that system is our enemy. When you're inside it and you look around, what do you see? You see actors, celebrities, models, singers, directors, producers. Those people are not ready to be unplugged from the system. All the controllers and those that protect that illusion, they are our enemies because they will fight and do everything in their power to protect that system. We're trying to open your mind. I can only show you the truth, but you have to want it.
What are we looking at here?
Usually there's a subliminal persuasion going on, often like what you see in the film They Live. Obey, consume, submit. And this is really just in your face. But you're going to see on ads, you're going to see in the news, you're going to see in entertainment, video games. Usually something will be enmeshed. In your conscious mind will be directed to look at one thing, while over here, something is being seeded into a person's subconscious, usually directly going into the limbic system. So the limbic system is usually where past experiences are given new writing. So you can rewrite over old information, so new programs can happen. Often this is something to do with a base feeling, a base drive, internal instinct to survive and replicate. So what's happening here is that there's a couple dynamics going on in the peripheral. So you're being seeded with the idea of peace and love, and this is what Austin's about. But then also look over there to the left. The boot with the crown is stepping on the truth, right? So it's all these little subtle tells. So here's Google, putting across its message.
This is an apple. Some people might try to tell you that it's a banana.
They're using perfect Saul Alinsky tactics, which is to accuse their opponents of the very thing that they're guilty of. And so literally, they've got covert hypnosis that they're using on the audience, which is conversational hypnosis.
They might scream banana, banana, banana over and over and over again.
They'll say something like, you might even start to believe that it's a banana.
You might even start to believe that this is a banana. But it's not. This is an apple.
This is an orange. If you were told it was something else, you wouldn't believe it, would you? This building is about to be destroyed in what is called a controlled demolition. Buildings do not do this spontaneously. This is World Trade Center 7 just before it collapsed on September the 11th, 2001. What does it look like to you? So the question is, do you believe what you can see with your own eyes, or do you believe what you are told?
What they're teaching in that original video is that what we were fed as the official narrative is so far out and delusional and insane that if you actually look with your own eyes about World Trade Center number 7 and how it fell into its own footprint. But no, you have to believe via cognitive dissonance, what we tell you. Oh, and 20 minutes after the fact of it being reported on both BBC and I think another channel.
Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse, and its collapse, and its collapse?
As you can see behind me, the Trade Center appears to be still burning.
We are getting information now that one of the other buildings, Building 7 in the World Trade Center complex, is on fire and has either collapsed or is collapsing.
So the fact that CNN recently spun with this ad, this is an apple, to try to seed, their true news. Because, of course, Trump has been coming out, calling them out for what they are. They're known time and time and time again to create false propaganda and pretend that it's something real. And it's all about distraction and confusion. Distraction and confusion.
Oh, wow.
So that literally was a perfect case in point demonstration of what we were just discussing. People will absolutely fight to stay in the matrix. They will absolutely fight. If anything in their core personality feels threatened, they will attack you.
Unfortunately, no one can be told what the illusion is. You have to see it for yourself.
Everything the Luciferians and the globalists are doing right now is only a preview of the end game and what's coming for all those who reject Jesus Christ as their Lord and their Savior. I've had people ask me and email me, where can I find your website address? Because I can't seem to find it. Well, it is thinkaboutit.online, and maybe it's the .online extension that confuses so many people instead of a .com, but it's thinkaboutit.online. I want to say thank you so much to all of my supporters and patrons. I appreciate you. I couldn't do this without you. Thanks so much.
President Trump spoke very highly of Bitcoin this year before the election.
If crypto is going to define the future, I want to be mined, minted, and made in the USA. It's going to be. It's not going to be made anywhere else. And if Bitcoin is going to the moon, as we say, it's going to the moon, I want America to be the nation that leads the way. And that's what's going to happen.
Nobody has been able to identify the source of the Bitcoin algorithm. It was originally published in a white paper on Halloween of 2008. Just as the economy was crashing, Bitcoin was put into practice by its own users, who proceeded to get insanely rich and spread the word of cryptocurrency. But the true origin of cryptocurrency can be found in the early days of Silicon Valley, with the CIA, Mossad, and their pedophile blackmail operations, managing the operation from the start. In 1997, the NSA published How to Make a Mint, the Cryptography of Anonymous Electronic Cash. Ripple was formed in 2004 by a member of the INSA and a descendant of one of the most powerful banking families of Europe. 4 years later, in 2008, the banks crash and the Bitcoin white paper is introduced to the public. 4 years after that, in 2012, Ripple XRP is released to the public, and today it is being considered for its new stablecoin. Stablecoins, such as Ripple's RLUSD, are digital versions of fiat currencies. While Bitcoin may arguably be a decentralized currency, stablecoins can be programmed and tracked as easy as any CBDC can. It's the same thing, just a different name. And it appears as if this is the direction the Trump administration will be going. Who needs a central bank when you have BlackRock? Preparations for a cashless society go back for well over a century. It was once considered to be the biggest threat in America. But now, people will be happy enough to just get the men out of the girls' bathroom. Based on the team surrounding Trump 47 so far, it is clear that nobody in power is resisting the AI world being built around us. Peter Thiel, who is clearly a proxy of the CIA, has not only pioneered digital money, he is the front man for Palantir, which was funded by the CIA. Palantir is a technology that is now being used in predicting who will commit a crime. It has access to everyone's private devices and is used by both military and police.
Next, our commander wants to disrupt enemy communications. This will allow ground forces to more safely maneuver and help ensure that enemy equipment stays in position. AIP automatically identifies and pairs all of the validated enemy communication nodes with a disruption capability. Assign jammers to each of the validated high-priority communications targets. An electronic warfare specialist initiates the jamming operation. Initiate jamming operation. AIP confirms the jamming order has been initiated. With enemy communication disrupted, our ground forces are cleared to move into position and destroy the enemy equipment.
It has also been revealed recently that data harvested from the game Pokemon has been used to train artificial intelligence to achieve spatial intelligence.
You can sneak around them or you can get them really close. Getting closer makes it a bit easier to get those great or excellent throws with your Pokeball, but if you move too fast, the Pokemon are going to get scared and they're going to bolt off. If you can get close enough without spooking them, Expert Handler mode kicks in, giving you a small catch rate bonus along with some extra XP and Stardust at the end.
So that robots can better navigate in the real world. Robot security dogs, such as the ones now being used at Mar-a-Lago by the Secret Service. Robots that are capable of firing rifles. The world sits on the edge of the AI world cashless society, and there are no leaders putting on the brakes. After Trump was elected, Bitcoin surged past 100,000 for the first time. Trump has said that he will somehow maintain USD dominance against the BRICS nations, and Michael Saylor has suggested a radical way to do this.
So the very simple idea is buy 20 or 25% of the Bitcoin network on behalf of the U.S. government, catalyze the development of that world reserve capital network, and then let all the Chinese and the Russians and the foreigners sell all their other assets and buy Bitcoin, and then the money flows into the United States. If you want to put a great twist on it, dump your gold, sell all the U.S. gold, buy Bitcoin, then the trade is free because you could buy 5 million Bitcoin for the cost of the gold. You will demonetize the entire gold asset class, and our enemies hold gold in their banks, so their assets would go to zero. Our assets would go to $100 trillion, and we would control the world's reserve capital network as well as the world's reserve currency network.
This scheme could magically wipe away the current deficit, which Trump alluded to in the recent past.
Who knows, maybe we'll pay off our $35 trillion, hand him a little crypto check, right? We'll hand him a little Bitcoin and wipe out our $35 trillion.
Early Bitcoin advocate Roger Ver is being threatened with 109 years in prison for tax evasion, even though he renounced his U.S. citizenship in 2014. Weeks after publishing his book, Hijacking Bitcoin, The Hidden History of BTC, Roger Ver was arrested by Interpol in Spain and has been held in the country at the behest of the U.S. government. He was recently interviewed by Tucker Carlson as to why the U.S. government is after him.
There was no doubt in my mind whatsoever that people were going to start using Bitcoin as money. And so I thought, oh, this is every libertarian's dream come true. Suddenly now we're going to have a choice. Bitcoin was supposed to be money for the world. Bitcoin was supposed to be used for payments as peer-to-peer cash for the world. And that's how people were using it. And, I was doing payroll in it and I was paying my suppliers overseas. But then later, this giant wave of censorship took place. Anonymous people that nobody knows their real names managed to get control of all the main discussion platforms for Bitcoin. And then suddenly, one day overnight, nobody was even allowed to advocate for Bitcoin being used as money. And they censored anybody that tried to do that. And initially, everybody saw through it. But then everybody that came to Bitcoin after the censorship began, they just started believing it. And today, the main people that are out there promoting Bitcoin, they literally say, oh, Bitcoin shouldn't compete with the US dollar. Bitcoin, you shouldn't use it as money. You shouldn't use it to pay for things. Like Bitcoin is just a digital asset. You should just hold it. And it's the exact opposite. They've through the censorship and the propaganda, they've literally hijacked Bitcoin. And I literally wrote an entire book about it. You can find more at hijackingbitcoin.com. It's available on Amazon and everywhere else. And lo and behold, just a couple of weeks after the book is published, I get arrested, and now I'm facing 109 years in federal prison for having exposed the way in which Bitcoin was hijacked.
Is it now possible to conduct any kind of business with crypto anonymously?
So in the early days, everybody thought Bitcoin was basically anonymous, and people treated it that way. And then websites came up that were selling things that governments might not necessarily want you to buy. And people were using Bitcoin for that because they thought it was basically anonymous. And then later on, we found out that it wasn't anonymous at all, but additional steps were taken to make Bitcoin even less anonymous. And today, most people are just using custodial wallets, which are, it's not even a wallet. It's just an account, and it's no more private than your, Bank of America or PayPal account. And in fact, it's even less private. People are claiming that Bitcoin is freedom money, but I'm really afraid that they're literally building the financial prison walls around themselves. Like if you look at what's going on in El Salvador, everybody's excited about Bitcoin there, but they're all using custodial accounts that the government can see every single transaction you're making, and they can freeze your account at any time. That's the exact opposite of economic freedom. That's economic government control. And so anybody that's paying attention should be really, really concerned about this, and they should be advocating the use of cryptocurrencies in which individuals can actually have control of their own money and have control over their own lives, their own destiny. Maybe that'll be Bitcoin, thanks to this new technology called confidential layer that bridges it onto Zano, but and I don't know what it's going to be, but we need to be really, really careful because, it could wind up that before we know it and before we realize it, we've built the financial prison walls around us, and it's too late to get out and too late to escape.
So it doesn't sound like you're suspicious that Bitcoin was created by the intel agencies as a kind of trap for people.
I don't think it was created that way initially, but I am suspicious, and I do think that the intel agencies and other groups have converted it and hijacked it into becoming a financial trap.
Learn more at freerogernow.org.